Like I've said in previous videos, if you are heal binding as a support player, you are playing the role very, very wrong. So today we are going to be ranking the best and worst support characters in Marvel Rivals based on 3 key metrics. Their impact on the team, so what can they do outside of their healing capabilities. Number 2 being their survivability and how can they self-peel. And number 3 being just the versatility of the character itself. So feel free to jump around to different timestamps in this video as I will give my honest opinion on where the character belongs and an explanation behind it. So now let's get right into the video. So starting off, we of course here have Adam Warlock. Now Adam Warlock has seen many changes throughout the game's lifespan. He used to be very, very, very garbage, but as of now, for the most recent patch of Marvel Rivals, he has gained a little bit of traction in, pick rates and win rates. I won't say he's the top tier pick yet, but his kit is definitely getting better and better and better. So for right now, his survivability is not that great as he just gets easily 1v1. Not even that. It's just if you get poked at any far range from, with Adam Warlock, it's kind of hard to fight back, and his cluster shot does pretty decent damage, but you kind of have to have cracked aim to hit every single shot that he charges up. So with that being said, based on my key metrics, he doesn't have good survivability, and for the other 2, he can do other things outside of healing. He is kind of a DPS heavy favored support player, but other than that, there's not really much going for him. Of course, he has the, his healing and his tether ability. I can't think on the top of my head right now what it's called, but you get what I mean. But otherwise, his ult is kind of skill based. You have to know when and how to use it, and not a lot of people know how to use that yet. If we're still seeing Bucky clips in 2026, 2027 based on Adam Warlock ults, then people still have not figured it out. So when those die down, that means that people will learn how to use it. So for right now, I'm going to put him personally in the C tier, because not a lot of people know how to use him. He is good as you climb the higher ranks. I personally have hit Celestial every season since the rank has came out, and there's some pretty good Adam players in there, but there's still not a lot of them as a whole. But the Adam players I do get, they are pretty good. So for the majority of players, I'm going to put him in C tier, but maybe as you get higher and higher, I can see him being in the mid to higher B tier. Well, actually, I'm not even going to play around with the mid to high tier. It's just tier B or tier C. So I'm going to put him in the C tier for now. Now going with Cloak and Dagger. Now they have been a nuisance since this game has released because their ult has been changed so many times, but yet it is still probably one of the most effective support ults in this game. Now going over the 3 key metrics like I keep talking about. Excuse me. So just keep talking about Cloak and Dagger. Going over the 3 key metrics with Cloak and Dagger, their survivability is actually not that bad. Each of them has their own abilities that can keep them safe for a short period of time until they get some peel from one of their other teammates. For example, Dagger has her bubble ability that she can keep on her and place on the ground and just constantly heal while she switches to Cloak and blinds them with their kind of Discord ability. Now, just doing that little combo together is really, really good. But as you climb higher, there's going to be more people on you trying to kill you. And Black Panthers, Magics, Psylocks, they can kill you if they're really good, even if you're in your healing bubble. So you're going to need to know how to play around that and make sure your positioning and all that comes into play when you're making these plays to survive. Now, as far as their impact outside of the team, I really think it's just kind of, 2 sides of the same coin. When you're playing Dagger, you're not really providing much outside your team for as far as healing, and that's just the nature of that side of the character. But as far as Cloak, you're really there to just do damage, place discords on enemies so you can help finish the kills. So with Cloak and Dagger, it's kind of like in the middle. Like on one hand, she's really good at healing and really good at surviving and really good at, just being versatile as a character. But on the other hand, she's kind of more on the heal botting side and doesn't really make that much of an impact. So, but as for now, she's still a very good solid pick. So for now, I'm going to put her in the A tier. Now moving on to Sue Storm, or whatever you want to call her. Man, she has the best skins in this game. Like, one of the best skins in this game. Like, she has really good skins. But other than that, let's talk about her kit and her survivability and all the other things that goes along with playing support in this game. Now, she's very underrated in my opinion. Yes, her ultimate may only last 8 seconds, and that's pretty short compared to the other supports, but I think her kit makes up for it. For example, she has decent damage, and she has combos that can actually potentially kill people when they're at a certain HP point. So for example, you place her, you throw her little circular disc thing that is like a sonic thing that, you know, Sojourn has in Overwatch. You throw that down to the ground and you use her pull ability or push ability to bring them back into that bionic ability as they're trying to escape, and that does really decent damage. And the pull and push on her kit or abilities is really good. So with that being said, she has really good potential to be a very top tier character in the support role. But I think the only thing lacking is really she kind of dies fast. Her survivability is not really that good. If you are facing good players, they're going to force out your jump/leap ability that makes you go invisible, and then they'll just wait till you do that. They'll kind of bait you into using that, and then they'll really use their full kit to kill and punish you in the game. So it's like, it's really depends on, you know, the skill of the person playing the character and how effectively they use their abilities. Now, I think her ultimate is actually pretty decent. You can use it to start fights and even, you know, extend the duration of fights. So I really think she's a solid pick, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to put her in the B tier. I don't think she's the worst, but I don't think she's the best either. And I think people are still trying to figure out how you can survive with her as a support character, because I really think she has underrated survivability capabilities. Of course, outside of her leap and things like that, she can push people away, but like I said, it's on cooldown. So if people can bait you into the right things, you don't have the right comps around you, as soon as you use your leap and your push ability, you're kind of done for. So like I said, I'm going to put her in the B tier. Now, actually, you know, coming back to it, I might change my opinion on whether to put Cloak and Dagger at, but for now, I'm going to leave them in the A tier. So man, oh man, Jeff the Landshark. I cannot tell you how many times I face one tricks that try to force their playstyle onto the team composition and expect to win. Like, I can't tell you how many times Jeff players have typed at the very beginning of the match. I'm talking 0.5 seconds into the match, hey, ban Rocket or ban someone else and so and so. I'm going to go on the flank. So we're going to need 3 healers because I'm not doing it. And that just kind of makes people, it just rubs people the wrong way, because how can you come in here and dictate how you want to play because you want to play a character? And most of the time, these people be having lords on every other role and every other support. They just want to play Jeff because he's fun and things like that. So what I got to say to you, Jeff players that act like that, is go to quick play, because you're selling and doubting your teammates that they can play around anything other than your Jeff. So you just want to have fun and do your own thing. That is not how team-based games works. So you can go to quick play or practice range with that crap. But anyway, just sorry about that little rant there, but going to Jeff the Landshark, I don't know why Jeffs are still trying to flank with him. I mean, he only has 3 bullets now. I mean, what are you really doing? Like, if you're trying to flank, what is your purpose? I mean, is it to annoy them? Yeah, sure, but they'll eventually ignore you. You're not a Magic or a Psylocke where they really have to turn their heads to you for you to not do any impact. So like I said, with Jeff, I don't know. It really depends on the Jeff player. If they're really good at ultimates, he's really good. He's not S tier by any means, but he could be a potential A tier. But for now, I'm going to put him in the B tier. Now you might be saying, how is Jeff better than Adam? Well, he is, in my opinion. He really is better than Adam Warlock right now. Jeff is very versatile as a character because, of course, people try to heal bot with him or flank with him. So he's very versatile, and his survivability is out of this roof. And on top of that, his ultimate can make so many impact plays, you don't even know it. I've probably seen most of TikToks and reels and things like that just off Jeff plays, because he's the most marketable and he's the most impactful and can make tons of different plays with his abilities and, of course, his ultimate. So with that being said, I think he's a really solid pick. You just got to watch out for the ones that try to play their way and don't try to benefit the team with their pick, so to say. So moving on to Loki. I really don't have to say much about him, but he is a S tier character for sure. He is an S tier character without any doubt. His kit is super good. He has very good impact, and he's very versatile, and he doesn't really die like that if you know how to use his clones and if you know how to teleport correctly. If you're a good Loki, you should have less than maybe 5 deaths in a single game, because you're always moving around, you're always going invisible, and you're always setting up places that the enemy could be hard to reach you at. But of course, that's in a perfect world. We all make mistakes, and every team makes mistakes, so that's not always going to happen. But for majority or half of the games, if you can find good positions to place your Loki clones and do really good healing output and make timely ults, I mean, Loki is just unstoppable. And as we're talking about Mantis next, I mean, man, that team up is super busted right now. You mean to tell me if you have Mantis on your team, you can have longer extended radius lamps, and then it also gives you damage boost? Oh man, that is just insane as a character to hold all that power. No one character should have all that power. I mean, but I guess it's Loki, so I guess he should have all that power. You know, lore speaking, he should. So it makes sense lore-wise. But, man, it's just a lot of power for one character, and it's kind of a risk-reward. If you don't know how to use his abilities, he's kind of useless. I'm not going to lie. He doesn't provide a lot of value outside of his healing. But if you really know how to fully maximize Loki, you can become a DPS Loki, a hybrid Loki, or a healbot Loki. It's so many playstyles you can play with Loki, and he's that good of a character. So he definitely belongs in the S tier. So moving on to Mantis, as I talked about, she's seen some changes over time of this game's lifespan. And with that being said, I don't really know where to put her. Of course, that team up makes it so good to have her and Loki on her team, but most of the time, you're not going to be running duo Loki and Mantis. Sometimes, most of the time, you're going to have to triple support, and that's just okay, and that's just kind of how it is. Like Adam, she's really a DPS type of support, so don't expect to put up high healing output numbers with her, and other teammates don't expect that either. But of course, just because your character is in this support character role, that means they expect you to heal a lot. So that just comes with the expectations of the roles and things of that nature. So just basing off of the 3 key metrics, she can do a lot of impact outside of her healing capabilities, and that's kind of where she shines. Like I said, her healing output numbers aren't really that good, but her sleep and her damage boost and all those other things really are really good. And not to mention her ultimate gets the job done in very good situations if you know how to use it. So with that being said, her versatility is pretty decent. I don't know about her. Actually, her impact is pretty good outside of her healing capabilities. I will say though, if you don't have your sleep on hand, if you already wasted it on something else, then I will say her survivability is not really that good. So I'm actually going to put her in the B tier with Sue and Jeff the Landshark, as her kit is really good, but most people don't run her just because of the healing output, and that's really a big takeaway with that character. Maybe if her healing numbers were better, she'd be super OP. I mean, having damage boost and just very good healing, like as good as a Cloak and Dagger, that'd just be too busted. So I actually think she's in a really good spot right now, in my opinion, and I think that right spot is in the B tier. So moving on to Rocket Racoon. Now, Rocket has seen some changes. People used to call him the most heal-botting character in this game. And he still is. Trust me, he still is. But people would say that because he would provide nothing, his ult was trash, and I will say, with his ultimate ability, it has made him a little more marketable. Now, with his ultimate, if you don't know this by now, you can use his ultimate at timely manners to damage boost your teammates with significant ultimates. So with Rocket, you can team up your ultimate ability with significant teammates that has really good ultimates that can one-shot and get the job done with the damage boost that Rocket Raccoon provides. So with that being said, I feel like his impact on the team is kind of mid. Like, yeah, his ultimate is good, but that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be a good ultimate. It's supposed to heal your teammates. It's supposed to keep your characters or your teammates alive. That's a basic. But I think where he shines is his respawn capability. If you place it in really good spots where divers can't even see it if they're running it, you are golden. Like, you're going to have a respawn up every 45 seconds. And most of the time, people are not getting ultimates that fast, you know, maybe outside of Moon Knight, Punisher, or, you know, Squirrel or anything like that. But outside of those characters, they are not getting ultimates every 45 seconds. Maybe they'll catch ultimates like 10 seconds left into the 45-second cooldown of Rocket Raccoon. But other than that, you can have respawns up every single fight, which is really, really nice. And with that being said, we don't even have to talk about it, but we're going to because it's part of the key metrics. His survivability is freaking insane. It's insane. I really think that's what makes up Rocket Raccoon. But does that really have value outside of dive players? That is the main question. But that is a good question to ask because my answer to that is no. So outside of diving, you don't really need to utilize his wall running capabilities because nobody's diving you. So you're just kind of wasting time climbing walls and things like that when you could be healing your team on the ground. So with that being said, I'm still going to put him in the A tier. He could go in B tier for most because, like I said, if you don't know how to use his ult, he is D tier. He's just garbage. Heal botting your way to a win or a dub is not going to get you anywhere in life. Yeah, you'll win a lot of games, but eventually where those heal botting numbers don't matter, you're going to be stuck in D tier. But if you know how to place his ultimate, can survive pretty decently with divers on the team, I believe, me personally, he is an A tier character. Now, it may be a little biased in that, but I try not to be biased in these situations. He was the first Lord I got in this game, so I've seen all the changes he's gotten since Season 0, and even in the beta when I tried him. So, yeah, I've seen all aspects of Rocket Raccoon in this game. So, with that being said, I think he's still an A tier character. Number one, on a caveat, if you can time his ult, and if you can survive pretty well. And if you do damage with his machine gun. Most rockets just heal bot and don't actually shoot their freaking gun that it's on the freaking healing thing with. Like, if you don't shoot his weapon, you're just wasting so many free pickup kills that you could have got when your teammates got them low, but they somehow died, and you could have killed them as long as with your teammates. Like, it just amazes me how many rocket players don't freaking press R2 or right click or whatever it is on PC. Like, it just amazes me. But if you're doing all the right things you're supposed to do with Rocket, I believe he is an A tier character. Luna Snow. I'm not going to say much about her either because I think she's really good. Now, the only thing is her survivability. Her survivability is not really that good. If you are constantly misplacing your freezes, which are pretty hard to hit in certain situations and comps, you are going to die a lot. You are going to die a lot. And it's going to force you to switch. But that's just the nature of the character. But talking about the pros, we don't have to talk about it, but we are. Her ultimate, her 12-second ultimate is just insanely busted right now. I don't know if they're going to change that. I guess we'll have to see. But just having the ability of kind of rocket ult in one and it lasts longer is just kind of crazy. Like, the fact you can switch from damage to healing and switch to damage right when your Namor is about to pop an ult, or Venom is, or your Mag or something like that. It's just so convenient to switch back and forth. Now, if you're a veteran like me, you remember when you could switch it every 0.2 seconds, and that would just be super insane back in those days. But I think she's still in a pretty good spot right now. Of course, the big caveat here is if you can't aim with Luna Snow, she's useless. She's D tier. But if you have decent mechanics in this game, she's an easily carry. She's an easily S tier character. Not much to say about that. Now for our last support character, and that is Ultron. Now Ultron, when he came out, I kind of said in my reaction video, he didn't really look the most powerful or the best, you know, contradictory to his lore, but I still think he's not as bad as he used to be, so to say. In the most recent patch, they prioritized him staying alive more than trying to keep his team alive, and I think that's really good because he is a really good third support to have, especially if they're diving, which most of the meta is right now. Just depends on the game. If you are constantly getting dove on Luna Snow or Sue or something like that, he's a really good alternative pick. Now, do people really play him outside of that? No. And I think that's kind of where he kind of falls down in the tier. And I don't think he's worse than Adam, but I'm debating on putting him in B or C tier because it's so many factors that would be beneficial to him and non-beneficial to him, just depending on the game situation and the comp. Like if they have Mag or, you know, Spider-Man or something like that, he's useless. You know, it really just depends on a lot of things. But like I said, going back into the 3 key metrics, I think he has a very minimal impact on his team. Like, of course, his ultimate can kill. It has pretty decent damage. It also heals too, which I think is the intended purpose for it. But most people, including myself, we just use it to kill other people, and that's just a-okay. But talking about the other 2 key metrics, including his survivability and versatility, he doesn't really provide much outside of healing. Now, like I said with Luna Snow, if you have decent mechanics, you can actually kind of be a third DPS, kind of, if you hitting your shots with his long beam. But other than that, you can't really rely on that to make Ultron useful. Your team has to be playing around your drone and the player that's taking the most damage to get consistent and reliable ultimates out of Ultron. But with that being said, a lot of people haven't really mastered that yet, so I'm going to put him in the C tier right now with Adam Warlock. And that's just because of the key metrics. If you're really good at Ultron and you have the team comp around you, he really doesn't die, honestly, unless they have a Spider-Man. But other than that, Bucky, Punisher, you're not gonna die if you're positioning good and your front line is distracting them so they can't even shoot at you. So other than that, I'm gonna have to put him in the C tier. But for my, you know, seasoned and skilled players, he would belong in B tier. But for majority of players, he belongs in C tier. So that is all for my support tier list video. If you guys did enjoy, let me know down in the comments what you guys did agree on and didn't agree on. And let me know what you guys want to do next. Should I do tanks or should I do DPS next? Probably going to do DPS next, or tank. I don't know yet. But hey, thanks for staying around this long. If you guys did enjoy, go ahead and check out my other videos. I will be dropping more videos week to week. So let me know how I did today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.